Hello and welcome to my very first voiced video titled The Last of Us 2 Defiant, Dissent, and you'll find out why later. I'm using PowerPoint because I'm a loser and have not learned the almighty ways of proper video editing tool. Yes, I'm sure it's easy. I just haven't had the time. Okay, I'm lazy. I'm sorry. I apologize unreservedly. I'd like to talk about this toad for a little while, though, just so you can see where my head is at. First of all, I think that the way that The Last of Us 2 was made was done so on purpose. Why? Because I think, it's my opinion, that the Toad was planning on crafting some kind of checkmate scenario, whereby if you had any opposing views on the game, or of the narrative, or of Abby, then all the Toad had to do was just drop that bigot card, and he would win. Because we all know that's how arguments are won, by ad hominems. But I digress. I want to talk about something else, because all the information I just glossed over is old hat, and plenty of other YouTubers have already, beaten that dead horse to a bloody pulp. So, I want to make a point about this interview that's on IndieWire. And by the way, I'm going to have this interview and a Reddit post I'm going to have later on in the description below, because that's how I roll. So let me read this little tidbit to you. It's probably too soon to discuss The Last of Us Part 3, but let's discuss The Last of Us Part 3. To which the Toad replied, I'll be a little vague and cagey as you can expect, but I think the test for whether or not to make a Part 3 would have to be a similar test to what we did with Part 2. Now, I'm not a mind reader, and thank the good Lord in heaven that I'm not, or I cannot get inside the Toad's head, but I would assume that that test is that checkmate scenario that I just described earlier. It's almost as if he was planning on bullying people into liking the game. That's kind of the vibe I'm getting. But there's something else I want to detail. There's something that I'm gleaming from this one little sentence, this highlighted portion here. Is if you think the Toad didn't ham-fist the identity politics enough in The Last of Us Part 2, wait until you see what he does with the third one. Oh, there will be a third one. Oh, there will be. And it will suck, I guarantee it. And I think what's going to happen with the third installment is, since the Toad has burned too many people on Part 2, enough people are going to be steering clear of the third installment for the way he burned people on the second game. Again, that's my own opinion. And I also want to harp on this just for a second. This is from a Reddit post. Again, description below. Here's the highlighted part. They felt some of the conclusions I reached in my review were unfair and dismissed some meaningful changes or improvements. Now, what I'm gleaming from this little segment is this little piggy was bad. And he didn't review bomb The Last of Us 2 in the positive like all the other good little sheep did. And so he's being spanked by Sony and or Naughty Dog, basically saying if you want additional access, you gotta play by our rules. And this is something else I wanted to harp on. It disturbs me that the video game industry has devolved into the political realm, where there's cloak and dagger, smoke and mirrors, under the table, money exchanges, and yeah, it's just, it irks me that this is where we're at. The video game industry shouldn't be like this. They're video games. And it sounds so silly when you really sit back and you sincerely ponder where we're at in life. Where we're at in the video game industry. It's just cruel, really. Which brings me to my next point. These fine gentlemen, these fine YouTubers and gamers were mistreated. Oh, and that's being nice. Really, what I'm really thinking is these people were abused by, let's call it, the system. Okay? The system has abused these poor folks. And that's what pisses me off more than the fact that our beloved hobby has become politicized. That's what irks me. Which actually brings me right back to my next point here. I plan on boycotting Naughty Dog. And I'm serious. I'm not going to buy another one of their games. And there's nothing they can do about it. I don't have to give them my money, so I won't. And I also won't be purchasing a PS5 purely out of spite for the way they treated those 3 gamers. And I know there are other gamers and YouTubers that Sony has mishandled and mistreated. But just as an example, I'm not going to be purchasing. I'm not going to be financially supporting these people for the way they treated those wonderful gamers. I refuse to, and there's nothing you can do about it. Which actually brings me to a next little point. I want everybody to sit back for a moment and just think about that name, Naughty Dog. Naughty Dog. What an apt descriptor for a company who is hell-bent on pissing their agenda all over a franchise that clearly didn't require it. But the only question is, when is someone going to grab this company by their sniveling wet schnozzes and shove it into their own piss whilst sternly scolding, "Bad dog, bad"? Well, if no one else is going to do that, I will. I'll do it. And I'm doing it by boycotting these people. Now again, I can't tell you what to do, my fellow listeners, my wonderful people out there. But allow me to make one final point. You see all this money on the screen? You see how much power is in that money? Let me clue you in on a little secret. These companies, any company, needs your money. But you don't need their products. Now, I can't tell you what to do. But what I can say is what I'm going to do. And that's not give these people any more of my money. I refuse to, for the way they treated harmless, in good faith, good trusting people that are they're just gamers, man, and you mistreated these people. So that's my reaction to this entire scenario. If you like what you heard, go ahead and click that like button. If you want to hear more, because I do have more ideas for additional videos, go ahead and hit subscribe. You will find all of my videos mirrored on BitChute, and you will find me on Gab. If you don't know what Gab is, it's just like Twitter, only it's a free speech haven. You can say whatever you want. You will not find me on Twitter, and you will not find me on Facebook. I'm on Gab. So hit me up there, tell me how much you hated this video, tell me how much you liked this video. Either way, until next time, have fun.